Good evening, all our postgraduate friends, mentors, members of Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society, members of All India Ophthalmological Society, and our esteemed participants who are going to present today and share their views. As we embark on this webinar series, let's recognize the pivotal role that our young postgraduate students in ophthalmology play as the future potential leaders of the field. And this primer sets the stage for series of enlightening sessions which are crafted by Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society, aiming to enrich your knowledge and skills as the future torchbearers of ophthalmic excellence in India. And we would like to thank specially Dr. Sumit and Dr. Aditi for crafting this enlightening sessions for all of you, and that is going to run throughout the year. So we welcome you on behalf of MOS and let this learning journey begin today. I would like to now introduce our chairperson of the today's webinar and our honorary secretary, honorary president of MOS, Dr. Santosh Agarwal sir. Dr. Santosh Agarwal sir is the president of MOS. He is a Vitro-Retina fellow from Shankar Nethralaya and has been practicing in the city of Aurangabad for more than 2 decades with vast experience in not only posterior segment but also in anterior segment surgeries. He is currently the leader and the force which guides us to the team MOS. And I would like to now request Dr. Santosh Agarwal sir to please give him welcome address for today's webinar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vardhaman. Uh, Respected Dr. Santosh Hanovar, sir, Dr. Krishna Prasad, Dr. Naina, Sabyasachi, Saurabh, Rajesh, all speakers, my MOS team, and my PG friends. Very good evening and greetings to one and all. I welcome you all to this PG orientation webinar. Spend more time on making good acts rather than directly embarking on cutting the trees. That means planning and preparation is crucial than execution. So today we are going to discuss the PG orientation, that is how to be a good ophthalmologist. Galaxy of speakers are there, stalwarts, who are going to enlighten us and also our PGs tonight. At the outset, I congratulate you all for your sheer hard work that have brought you to the landmark course of ophthalmology. I had my PG experience, which I want to share with you in 12 points, that is mantras, how to be a successful ophthalmologist. First of all, have a big dream. You should have purpose in your life. Second is, what is success? It is the smart hard work, not only hard work, but it should be smart hard work along with strong desire. That is a passion for your ophthalmology or course. Example is Amitabh, Sachin Tendulkar, who have at the pinnacle just because of their smart hard work. Then third is become a good human being first, then an astute clinician. Fourth is, what is the recipe for a good PG or ideal PG? Because your recipe should be palatable. So proportionate ingredients should be there to have a good recipe. That is studies along with fitness, along with entertainment, sports, everything should be in a proper quantity. And that should be incorporated to have a good PG student. Then how to study? This is my perspective. Just listen to that. And if you feel it is good, then imbibe it. Just read the topic first. Understand the concept. That is more important. Don't mug up. After understanding the concept, take out your notes. Then go for reference books. Have additional points incorporated in your notes. And then revise. That will give you confidence in the exams. Sixth is read before and after your lecture or practicals. That will again give you confidence. Then seventh is time is very precious. So use it judiciously. Take use of it optimally. Eighth is don't stop questioning yourself. Go on thinking on each concept. Ask why, how every time. Also ask your mentors and teachers. Then ninth is how to acquire surgical skill. First, read the theory part of the surgical method. See the videos. There are many resources available nowadays. Then understand the concept behind the each step. Go to the micro details of each steps. Attend practical workshops or wet labs. And then try. That is practice. It will make you perfect. Then 10th is do your best, whatever you are doing. Whatever job is given, whatever work has been allotted to you, do your best. 11th is don't compare with peers. Don't compare always. That will reduce your confidence. Don't be in race. Always compare with yourself. Try to be better and better day by day. Learn from the mistakes. Embrace them. Embrace the failures. And last is 12th is for your happiness, eternal happiness, one should be adjustable. There should not be any expectation from anyone. And keep on learning new and newer things and positive thinking. Enjoy each phase of your life. And lastly, forgive yourself, your mistakes, and forgive others also for their mistakes. That will make you eternally happy. So these are the 12 mantras from President Desk. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I wish you all the best in your future life. Thank you. Over to Mardhaman, please.
Thank you so much, sir. I think amazing and such nice pearls right at the beginning of the residency program. I think with all these pearls, if they try to implement this, I'm sure that the residency is going to be no less than heaven and they're going to bring out the best from themselves. Thank you again for such a wonderful message for all the postgraduates. So now we move forward to our program, and I would like to now invite both the moderators and the conveners of today's webinar, Dr. Aditi Watwe, who is the secretary of the chairman or secretary of the scientific committee of MOS. She's an oculoplasty surgeon trained under Dr. Hunavar sir, who is a mentor today. Then we have Dr. Sumit Lahane, who is the chief coordinator for the PG programs throughout this year, is putting a lot of efforts. Again, a past fellow under Dr. SH and doing amazing work. And the convener for today is our very dynamic honorary secretary, Dr. Atul Kadaniji. He is currently the honorary secretary of Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society and a very dynamic secretary indeed. So over to all the three of them to take it forward, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Vadaman sir. I would like to thank MOS, Santosh sir, Vadaman sir, Atul sir, and Aditi ma'am. They are the ones who are the actual engine behind running this MOS PG program, and Santosh sir is always motivating, and he wanted MOS to continue the PG activities and seal it up than the last year, and we want to take it because with his guidance and supervision, MOS will surely be able to do that. So today, the mentors and the orientation program come to the different perspective where the residents are also talking about their view on everything, the important aspects of the residency. At the same time, we will have a commentary by our senior mentors who are the actual trainers for this residents, and they will be putting their points. So that will be a very good perspective to the first year residents. So I will be introducing the mentors. I will not take much time for this. Introducing them might take long time, but it would be better if we hear from them. It will be much better. So today we have Dr. Naina Poddar ma'am. Ma'am is HOD of Nair Hospital, and she has very keen interest in PG teaching. Whenever we want to do any wet lab session, SSTC or any program, Naina ma'am is more than welcoming for everything at Nair Hospital. Thank you ma'am for being there. We have Dr. Sabyasachi Sen Gupta sir. Sir is a vitreoretina surgeon trained in Shankar Netralaya. He has his own center in Mumbai. He is associate editor of Indian Journal of Ophthalmology. More than that, he had almost 35 publications during his residency itself, and he has his own website called as the Sen Gupta Research Academy, through which he continues teaching about research publications, and we are very grateful to him because we keep on learning from him every now and then during his webinars. Thank you, sir, for taking out time. We have Dr. Rajesh Joshi, sir. Sir is a editor of Maharashtra Ophthalmic Society Journal, JCOR, and he is also head of the department, professor at Akola GMC. Sir is very dynamic and one of the leading researchers in Maharashtra. Sir, thank you for taking out your time here. We have Dr. Krishna Prasad, sir. Dr. Krishna Prasad, sir, will be joining us shortly. Sir, I can just describe in one line that he is a walking, talking encyclopedia of ophthalmology. He is academic head uh, of PG program in MM Joshi and keeps conducting various programs. You can see his lot of videos on the YouTube teaching refraction and the various topics of the ophthalmology. Thank you, TP sir, for taking out your time. We have Dr. Saurabh Patwardhan sir. Sir is a director of Nandadi Pai Hospital and he is a very established and world-renowned cataract surgeon who has his own YouTube site. He has his website where he teaches a lot of cataract surgeries, and he has multiple. He has trained multiple fellows under him. Thank you, Saurav sir, for taking out time today. And we have Dr. Santosh Honavar sir, who does not need any introduction. He is the secretary of India. All India Ophthalmic Society. He is our mentor, and he's one that who has received the Achievement Award of American Academy of Ophthalmology, which no Indian till date has received. Thank you, Santosh sir, for taking out time to guide the residents. And I hand over to Aditi ma'am to introduce all the PGs who will be presenting today.
Thank you, Sumit, and good evening, all. So, after the introduction to all our mentors, I'll be introducing in short the residents or people who are just out of their residency or doing fellowships. So, I'll be introducing first Dr. Pinak Karkande. He did his DO from BJMC Pune. He has done his PECO training in Nandadip Eye Hospital, Sangli. He is currently pursuing DNB at Arvind Eye Hospital, Coimbatore. Next speaker is Dr. Rishikesh Deshpande. He's currently pursuing his glaucoma fellowship from Netradhama Super Specialty Eye Hospital, Bangalore. He has completed his MS from BJMC Pune and is an avid orator. He also runs a YouTube channel, I Excel, which explains the concept-based ophthalmology. Next presenter is Dr. Hirika Gosalia. She has recently completed residency at Arvinda Hospital, Coimbatore. She is the youngest member of the editorial board of Tamil Nadu Ophthalmic Association Journal and executive member of YOSI India. Then next is Dr. Prithvi Chandrakant. He is MS Ophthalmology and current medical officer in the Department of Vitreoretinal Services at Arvinda Hospital, Coimbatore. And he has published 20 plus articles in various PubMed Index journals and 100 plus presentations at various conferences. He has a keen interest in innovation in ophthalmology and has over 10 innovations to his name. And the fifth one is Dr. Padma Priya. She is currently pursuing fellowship in orbit and oculoplasty in Arvind Eye Hospital, Coimbatore. She completed her MS from BJMC Pune. She has done FECO training at Asian Eye Hospital, Mumbai, and has done 500 plus cataracts and 200 plus extraocular surgeries. She loves to dance, write, and read as much as to improve her clinical knowledge and surgical skill, and constantly seeks to learn more. So, without wasting the time, I think everybody will be keen to learn from the residents' point of view as well as the mentors' point of view how to best utilize the residency. So, I would like to invite Dr. Prithvi Chandrakant, who is going to present on Present Like a Pro.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the kind introduction. And I would like to thank Maharashtra Ophthalmic Society and all my mentors here for giving me this opportunity tonight. I hope the presentation is visible.
Yes, it is.
So my talk will be like present like a pro. So I'm Dr. Prithvi Chandrakant, no financial or no conflict of interest. So always when I give a presentation or a video presentation, most of my PGs and fellows come and ask me, how do you do this? How do you do this kind of presentation? Because most of the time, you have lots of text in the slide. So my way of doing it is less text, more images, and that's what they always want to ask me how to do a presentation. So I have concised everything into 10 steps, which I will share here, and with this 10 step, anybody can make their presentation look more attractive. So the first step is the topic and the script. So always have a good title or a topic name which will attract the judges or the audience towards your presentation. And always make a script. And the script would always have an introduction, an aim, material methods, results, discussion, and conclusion. So you can either make it in a manner that it tells like a story, or you can make it more interesting. So you really need to have a good script as to how you want to go about with the presentation. The second step is getting a software which helps you do the presentation right. So I use a Keynote in the Apple MacBook, and you can also use Microsoft PowerPoint, which is equally good. And then for video editing, I use a Apple iMovies. The third step is getting a template or a theme for your whole presentation. So I usually go to websites where you get free templates, or you can even ask for copyright free templates, and then you can download that and you can use these templates like the ones which I've used in the background with the yellow theme to show your presentation, which makes it more attractive. And like you can see here, there is a war background theme, there's a COVID theme, you have a comic style infographic theme, there's a spooky Halloween theme. So there are different kind of themes which you can get and make your presentation look really wonderful. So to complement that, you have the fourth step, that is downloading the fonts. So you can also download free fonts from the internet, and you can complement your presentation, your slides with these fonts, which will make it look more prettier. But make sure that it is eligible. So it should be very legible, and it should not confuse the audience as to what you want to say, or it should be very crisp, and it should be very proper when you see it. So it should not confuse the audience here. Then the fifth thing is getting the images, clip arts, or icons. So you can have still images like these. You can put these kind of images, but be careful that there is no copyright for these images. If you have, then you will have to mention the copyrights. And then you can even use GIF images like this. So if you make some complication video, you can show that, see like how he is going inside the garden or something like that, and then I didn't do it kind of a thing. So it will actually make the audience more interesting towards your video. And then if you manage, you can put it like a mic drop, or a clap, and you can even tell how the audience are looking at your presentation using these GIF images, which may make your presentation more lively. And then you have icons which you can use over here. So another thing which you can do is in image and clip arts are removing the background. So there is an option in both the Microsoft PowerPoint and Keynote where you can actually remove these backgrounds which are over here. So anything which is contrast, you can remove the background. You can use this tool to remove the background. And then you also have things like crop and editing the videos, images, sorry. So you can even crop these images and you can use it and make these images move also. You can make these images move with the transition, which I'll talk to you in the next slides. So the next one is the sixth step is adding music and audio. Again, these are all you can get free music from YouTube and Ben Sounds. There are other copyright free sounds also which can be used. So be careful that you can also use these sounds and have a copyright free sounds, because then you don't want to get into trouble taking any of the sounds which has copyrights. The seventh step is using animation effects. Over here you can see I've made a video. So using animation, so animation is always there with our in our software, but we never use it. So over here you can see how I've made a pupil on the iris, and how we are making an incision for cataract surgery by using different animations. So these are all very simple animations which can be done along with the tools which we have. So over here you can see how this is the iris, the pupil, and then an incision which we made. So this is using very simple animation effects. So over here, another thing we can use is a tunnel blade, and how the tunnel is going inside the scleral and making a nice scleral flap for SICS tunnel. So this is a very simple animation which can be done by anybody, especially a PG can do it very simply, and they can show it in their presentations. So then comes the transition. So what we saw over here was using animation for each shape. Over here now we will see how you can put animations to the slides of these presentations. So transition is the animation that we give to slides. So here you can see how I'll be demonstrating how to show a dilatation of pupil. So over here you can see we have copied the same shapes to both the slides over here. And then in the second slide, that is the 35th slide, we have made the inner circle, that's the pupil, a little larger. And then once that is done, you can use your morph in PowerPoint and magic move in Keynote. And you can see how beautifully a dilatation of pupil is demonstrated here. You can even use it for fundus images. Like most of them just show these images like this. But then you can go ahead and make these animations and zoom your findings in the fundus images and show them how actually each sign looks, which will make your presentation more better. And then you have editing shapes. This is also a small tool where you can actually edit your shapes to whatever shape you want. So you can see over here, we use a triangle, and then you can use a make editable option, which will help you edit these shapes to whatever shape you want. So over here, you can see how I'm editing it to the shape of the theme. So this is very simple. It is very easy to do. Any of our residents can do this. I'll just show you an example of this same thing. So over here we have a OCT image where I've drawn a IL drape sign. Then you can see how loss of photoreceptor is demonstrated with blue. And then using the edit shape, I have made a shape of the inner and outer retinal cavitation to make it more obvious for the people to understand. And then hyperreflective loss. So these are all signs which can be made visible by using this edit shape option. Then the last is the 10th step, that is using a movie editing. So I use an iMovie in my presentations. There are a couple of other free movie editing softwares available. So here what I do is I use these movie editing software only to cut the necessary portion which I don't want, or to add any audios, or if we need to make any videos fast or slow. So here you can see how we detach the audio first. So this audio is removed. Once you can remove this audio, you can add any of your audio which you have downloaded from the no copyright audio from YouTube or Ben Sounds. And then you can browse through the whole video and then split the portions which you don't really want. So if you want to split, you split this clip over here. So it becomes a separate entity. And then wherever you want to stop it, you can stop there and again split the video. And then this segment, so once you split it, this segment is something which you don't want. You can just delete this segment, and then it becomes together. So now that is done, you can also use the movie editing software to increase the speed. So over here, you can see how you can make it slow, or you can make it fast, or you can make it freeze frame. So all this will help you to make your video a little faster or slower accordingly. So once that is done, you can save this video in your MP4 format in your computer, and you can use this in your presentations. These are the 10 steps. Just showing you a small video for an example, where you can see this is the image clip art which we have used. This is a GIF image showing the calendar, and this is the transition image that we have used, the transition by which we can make the van or the ambulance move. And this is a very short video of how you can make a very simple animation video. With this, I think all of you can actually make your own good script and make your own good presentations. Thank you.
Very nice presentation, Dr. Prithvi. I think you actually presented like a pro. So I would like to invite Dr. Nayana Poddar Madam to give her expert comments as a mentor.
Thank you, Aditi. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent presentation, Prithvi, and thank you for illustrations and demonstrations of how to incorporate audios, videos, animations. Excellent. I wish we knew this during our residency. So I would like to share something what we have seen through. I will share my small presentation where I would like to tell the present students how we came across, how much the technology is advanced. So initially when I was doing residency, we would present with the overhead projector and transparencies. So I think everything now is obsolete, but I just thought, let me tell you that we have come a very long way. Now we have pocket projectors. So we had this OHP with, transparent things which we would manually draw, write, and then present. Then when I became a lecturer, that time the slideshow projector came, wherein those small slides were prepared by a slide designer. He would take efforts to take photographs of the various images, prepare photographs, make it into negatives, put them in a small plastic or wooden frame, and then during the conferences we would carry those in a nice there used to be a special box for it, and then we would present manually by sliding it over the bulb. This continued till the PowerPoint point which came in 1987. Initially it was black and white, and now you have an array of so many applications and so many new things. So this is it. Yeah. So along with what you have shared, Prithvi, I just wanted to tell our students that presentation is important for the conferences, for the seminars, but also sometimes what I'm going to share will also be useful for exams and board rounds. So they have to remember 4 P's. First is you plan what you're going to speak, as you said, have a nice topic, have a nice script, then prepare, do research and development, read many books, go through the literature, use various, as you said, keynote or anything, and then make a good presentation, practice, rehearse, keep on rehearsing so that you can stick to the time, and then ultimately you present. So while presenting, I feel certain things are important. First is that you have to break the ice, you greet the audience. That is very important. Then A, B, C, D, E I have put together small things which I thought will help. Firstly, you have to see that you have to be audible to the audience. The audience can be a single person or infinite. So A is important. Then body language. Have a good posture. Look at the audience. Use gestations. Use hand language. Then the C. See that your content, what you have included, is clear, concise, and speak with confidence. Then comes delivery. Deliver within the time frame. While delivering, you see that you have your defined objectives delivered and the data presented. E is for eye contact and effective visual aids. That also includes the audio also. So certain things are important. What I felt is that see that there are certain rules wherein the slide should not be more than 10. It is called 10, 20, 30 rules. So the slide should not exceed more than 10. Do not overshoot beyond 20 minutes and see that your font size hovers around 30. In a given slide, see that you do not have more than 7 lines, and in a single line, not more than 7 words. So avoid overcrowding. Recently, I'm also learning a new this, which is the Canva, with which you can wow the audience. They have high quality templates and elements. So here they go. Every day is a presentation, be it in your OPDs, in your this. And I wish all of them improve and benefit from Prithvi's presentation today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naina Madam, for the pearls from the mentor for a nice presentation. So I think at the end of all presentations, we will also have a panel discussion and points or from all the mentors also regarding all these different dimensions of the residency. So for now, I guess we'll go to the next presentation. The next presentation is going to be by Dr. Pinak Kharkande. It is very interesting. As we know, residency is the start of our career, and our start needs to be like we need to be very fit from the beginning to increase the longevity of our career and overall quality of life. Be it some physical activity, the posture, which is important, especially during prolonged surgeries like VR surgery, etc. So I invite Dr. Pinak for presenting his talk on Be Fit as a Fiddle. Over to you, Pinak. Pinak, you need to make it full screen.
Hello. Yeah. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, are my slides visible?
Slides are visible, but you just need to make it full screen.
It's full screen, ma'am, already.
Maybe can you just like exit and do it, or like?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, it's visible.
Is it fine, ma'am?
Yeah.
So, good evening, everyone. Today, I'm going to talk about the fitness we need in a medical profession, because we all know that it is the most neglected part in our medical profession. So, I'm going to create a little bit awareness about the fitness we need to prolong our career longevity. So, what is fitness? It's the quality of being suitable to fulfill a particular role or a particular task. So, we compare ophthalmologists with the professional athletes because we have a lot of things in common. We both need to maintain a physical ability and to stay on the top of our nutrition in order to be at our best. And sometimes in this process, we both end up sacrificing our bodies for our profession. So there are three components of fitness. First is the nutrition, second is the rest, and the third and last is physical activity. Coming to the nutrition, so it's our body is like a fuel, and it needs calories in order to function optimally. So the calorie intake and the calorie expenditure should be balanced. When we consume calorie from the food, they needs to be burned either in the form of exercise, activity, or resting calories in order to maintain a good health. So calories can be in the form of the food we eat. So it can be from the salads, or it can be from the oily food. So the type of food we eat also it determines the our health. Second is there are a lot of things about diet. There is a intermittent fasting. There is no sugar diet, low carb diet, or high protein diet. But what we need is a balanced diet, which includes equal amount of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats combined with a good amount of hydration. Coming to the posture, which is the most important aspect in our profession. So as an ophthalmologist, we spend a lot of our time of the day in sitting either in OT or our OPD setup, and then which make us prone to more serious injuries like backache, or some may end up with serious injuries like cervical or lumbar spine problems. So sit comfortably in relaxed position, adjust the microscope or the slit lamp according to your need and your comfort in order to reduce the fatigue, prevent serious injuries, and prolong our career longevity. So there are a lot of videos on the YouTube available, and there was a paper published for the ergonomics for the ophthalmologist in 2017 IGO edition, which says that the head up and heels down position is a perfect posture for ophthalmologist in OPD as well as OTs. Coming to the physical activity, so physical activity basically improve the mind and bodily strength, gives our boost our confidence. It feels good. It releases feels good hormone and boost our happiness. So I also improve the cardiovascular capacity, strength, bodily balance, and the flexibility. Physical activity can be done at our workplace, like avoid sitting for a longer period of time or moving a little bit in the OPDs, active lifestyle, and exercise. Exercise can be in the form of aerobic exercises, strength training, or flexibility. So see, this is the a cartoon which is basically a medical professor who is struggling to do multitasking, and which will lead to accumulation of stress. So we need to balance our stress and maintain, try to reduce our stress in the form of good sleep, regular exercise, having a balanced diet, and planning a leisure activities in between. Coming to the last part of the topic, which is rest and sleep. So basically, it's like our body is like a mobile phone. When the phone is down, we put it on charging in order to function properly. Similarly, our body needs proper rest and sleep, which usually lack, especially in the residency days. So it is of important part. It is our important part. So lack of rest and sleep leads to multiple lifestyle diseases like hypertension, obesity, some mood disorders, loneliness, cardiovascular diseases, then depression, anxiety, low confidence. So we need to take proper rest, have a proper good diet, and some kind of activities, physical activities, in order to keep ourselves healthy and fit and to prolong our career longevity. Thank you. So the take-home message from our topic is healthy outside starts from the healthy inside. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pinag. It was really insightful. And I guess that is this is something which is very important. If you know from the start of your residency, it is very important to maintain your health in order to deliver a good quality and maybe quantity of patient care. So moving on to our next topic, innovation and research, your way of success, by Dr. Hirika Gosalia. Over to you, Dr. Hirika, for your talk. And followed by that, the comments will be by mentor Dr. Sabyasachi Sengupta. Dr. Hirika, we can see your slides, but we cannot hear you.
Are my slides visible?
Yes, yes. Your slides
Yes,
are visible and now you're audible.
Yes, so good evening, everybody. Thank you. I would like to thank Maharashtra Ophthalmic Society for this opportunity. So my topic tonight is innovation and research, your way to success. So before going to the insights of this, I would like to talk about my journey in innovation and research. So, as a resident in my first year of my prestigious hospital, Arvindai Hospital, it gave me a lot of opportunities. And me being a curious child, I used to ask a lot of questions to my mentor, like like what is he seeing? And I used to be really inquisitive, and I used to keep troubling him to ask him questions about what he is actually showing me. But I still had a lot of questions, and especially I had these questions about why do we not have any tools for target fixation and for lid aversion. So that's when I did my first two innovations in my first year of residency. First was a target fixation, wherein I came up with this tool, which is a do-it-yourself tool called as a Magnifix, which used the magnet and the fixation of the eye. So here's a short video showing the use of Magnifix, wherein we used a block magnet and a coin magnet to show across the screen that we used to use during COVID, the slit lamp shield. And we use this as with a red reflector, and this made it really easy for patients to fixate target and for us to examine the patients. So that was a very simple prototype, and then we used this in the pediatric clinic, wherein we use these nice attractive fridge magnets across these slit lamp shields to make it a very friendly and a very attractive target fixator for the kids. And then this was also used in many other centers of Arvindai Hospital, especially in the pediatric clinic. So that was my first innovation, and I also published it in Indian Journal of Ophthalmology. And then my second innovation was regarding lid aversion, which I did with two other people from two other batchmates of mine from Arvindai Hospital. And here we used these coffee stirrer sticks along with double-sided tapes. And this was a prototype that we did for lid aversion. And here you can see how easy it is. And then we used these sticks along the lower lid, along the upper lid, the lower margin of the upper lid. And we did lid aversion without any contact. It was a very non-contact method of lid aversion. And then we have come up with a 3D printed version of the same. And then we published the same in the Indian Journal of Ophthalmology. So this was my short journey of doing innovation and research. That was my first step to research too with innovations. So now going into the details of this, so we all know what it is to discover and what it is to invent. But what is it to innovate is that to make changes in something which is already established, especially by introducing new methods or ideas or products. So here you can see how all these instruments has been innovated, from a plain mirror retinoscope to now the smartphone refractometer, and these surgical methods that have been innovated day and day, like from couching to ICC and then now to femtolaser and phacoemulsification. So why is innovation really important? First of all, it saves time. It is easy. It can give you better quality. It can be affordable for many. It can give you more improvement than the earlier technique, and it can be easily accessible. Uh, Now, how can we do this? How can we innovate? So first is by observation, to be inquisitive, to look around for things that are not, that need improvement, that can be done better, or to look for new things that need to find new problems for which we need solutions. And that will be followed by obviously researching about, has there been done anything about this? And later, let's talk about where do we have to find these problems? It can be anywhere, from your clinic to anything. We are all surrounded by so many different problems. You only have to look for it. So it's very easy. And I feel as residents, since we are really new to the system and we are very inquisitive, we want to learn a lot of things, we can find these problems much easier than to maybe seniors who have already adjusted to the things around them. So when to innovate, there is no such time. You can do it anytime. There can be no excuses. You don't require any particular time. You can constantly be in search of it, and you can just do it anytime. And there is no critical time. But maybe when you want to make it commercial, that's any other way to go for it. But you can discuss your problems with your mentors, with your seniors, and you can work on a problem. So we can all, each one of us can innovate with different approaches, with different ideas. There are so many platforms, hackathons that are happening wherein such things are being given motivated for, given a head go for. So be yourself, be positive when you are thinking of such things. There might be many people who will be like, we don't need new things. Why are you even wasting your time for it? But we need to just stay away from these negativity. You need to find the right mentors who can help you out and make you look at it positively. So simple innovations can give you the best results, and greatest innovations can have scope for patency, which can also, if you want to, you can have to publish if you publish that, you cannot patent, so that you have to be careful about it. So now, talking about research, we all are expected to write exams when we are residents. But along with that, that doesn't mean we are also expected to do some research work, not compulsory a lot, but some. For that, you really need to develop interest. You need to talk to people who have published earlier, read more articles, journals, to see what's happening around the world, to know what has been written about. You can start with small things like letter to editor, case reports, photo essays, and then move to bigger steps like original articles, review articles. And the first motivation factor for me was my first article, which was a letter to editor, which gave me the push to write more articles. And now during my residency, I did around 20 articles just in residency period. So you first need to know the subject before writing. You cannot just start writing. So the knowledge is a power, and that the exams that are there, they can help you for these basic of writing. So these mentors are there for you in the hospital who can push you to publish. They are your best reviewers and guidance because they're experienced and they can answer your queries at any time. So the first question is, when you see something new, you need to know if it is good enough to write about. You need to do literature research, and you need to search and look at review articles and what has been written about. Then you need to document it. You really need to examine the patient properly, document everything in every multimodal imaging of the patient. If it's a case report, then look at every clinical finding, look for something new which has not been published earlier. Look at all the possible investigations that can be done. And first and the most important is to take the consent of the patient. And the statistics can be done with using simple Excel, or you can take help with the biostatistician, or you can learn basic statistics, which is available online. So writing the manuscript, which is the most fearful thing, as first when you come across writing your first article, you need to refer a lot of articles, maybe take help from your seniors. Try to not copy, write it yourself. And you want to stay away from plagiarism. Set targets of writing one paragraph every day. You cannot sit through an entire day and finish it off. You really need initially you need a lot of time to just start a few paragraphs. You can even use Grammarly for English language software, and there are many other softwares. And then there is Zotero for reference management, and also you can check plagiarism online, which is free of cost in many platforms. Then after writing it, you can think about what journal you want to publish on. You want to publish, doing the literature research, you want to see if it is actually good for an international journal or a national journal like Indian Journal of Ophthalmology, or you can do it on a state journal. So that depends on many things: the quality, the article type, how special is your article, what is the impact factor, the acceptance rate. So what you really need to be ready with is first an abstract. Then you can do the keywords, which can be done later also. Then writing this is for an original article, is introduction, material and methods, results, discussion, conclusion, and references. For references, you can use Zotero. And then you have to do legends, wherein you can do figures and tables. And you need approval from the ethics committee if you're doing a study, or you need consent from the patient. And you really need to be sure if there's any conflict of interest, any image copying, or any authorship criteria and copyright problems. So thank you. I feel like we should all think out of the box, and the journey of a resident is not limited to just studying, but there's so many other things that they can look into. Thank you.
Thanks, Erika. And I have a yeah, I think I have a bad voice today, so please excuse me a little bit for that. Very nice presentation by Hirika, and a lot of publications during residency really boost your confidence. I think I'll start or sort of. I think it's to mute because I think there's a lot of echo around. All right. So I think the two main things that I would sort of want to stress upon in the next 5 or 6 minutes is, why you want to really do it. And, Hirika has already told us how you should do it. And I'll add a little bit on that. But I think the first and foremost is why you want to do it. What is your motivation to do it? What is it that you want to get out of it is something that you would want to know. But, I'm in first year of residency and I don't know anything about ophthalmology. And, how can how can you expect me to know, what I want out of this? So just consider doing research and publications like mutual funds, right? You all understand what a mutual fund. You put a little bit of money every month, and then there's a compounding effect. And then when you are 10 years down the line, you can do pretty much whatever you want, because the sum would be large and there's a lot of compounding, right? So clinical research and publications is like that. Whatever you want to transfer, you want to sort of get into, it'll help you for international fellowships, it'll help you getting jobs, it'll help you getting loans, it'll help you getting some revenue, and whatever you want to do with it. So just do it. It's like the Nike tagline, they just say just do it. So you should definitely just do it. And a couple of more things is that it definitely gives you a competitive advantage. As you go along, you realize that people who publish have that little additional competitive advantage. You become a real problem solver, isn't it? You dive deep into problems, and you become a troubleshooter. A lot of people want your opinions about how to go about and how to do things. You become adaptable. So you sort of learn to make the best of what is there around you. That research mindset sort of gives you that. You basically optimize your own self in the, you bring out the best in yourselves, and it will translate into clinical skills, surgical skills, and all over the place. So I think that mindset is really important. And like Hirika said, you need to keep asking questions. Remember that the questions should be meaningful questions, and they should come out with something meaningful which will have an impact, isn't it? You don't want to do something and sort of not have people read it. So Professor Amod Gupta, he published a paper where he wrote about his research journey, and he said that I wish I had not done those first 20 publications at all. That's because nobody read them. So we don't want to be in that position. So ask meaningful questions and sort of pursue them till you sort of get those answers. As in when you go through this pipeline, you'll realize that it's bringing out leadership qualities into you as well. So, you are going up the ladder much quicker than a lot of your other peers and colleagues. And, some of your papers can have a lot of global impact as well. And, you might not know now, but after 5 years, you may get an email, say from Italy, and they'll tell you that, oh, we followed your paper and we found, that this is how things are. And, that's another thing. So, so a lot of good things will happen as then when you keep doing this. So, these are things about, why you should do it. And a couple of quick points about how you should do it. I think Hirika has already told us about, asking questions and pursuing, your steps to get those answers. Remember that, whatever you're innovating, it be under the apple tree or be under the banana tree, it has to be validated. I think that is a message which is extremely important. A lot of us are doing new things, new gadgets and new discoveries, and we feel that, oh, this is great. But then, have you actually really questioned the existing status quo? And, have you compared it with what is being done today? And is it actually making a difference? It's all, good and saying that, oh, I did this new thing, but then is it actually making a difference? Are people adopting this, or are people going to adopt this? Right. So validating, that is comparing with the current status quo, is, I think, second to none. That is as important as actually, coming up with that innovation. So validate. And if you are not thinking about commercializing or patenting it, which is a very long, arduous journey and can cost crores of rupees. So no, so going ahead and patenting and commercializing it's maybe 1 out of 100 can do that. So then, if we are not looking at commercializing and patenting it, you should definitely publish it. So publishing really goes through a peer review process where some of your colleagues, seniors and juniors will you have done and tell you whether it's worthwhile, and if it is, it will get published. Like Hirika has already shown us in the IGOs, right? So validate what you have done and compare it. So there should be a comparison group, isn't it? So your new thing versus what is being done, and is it good enough for it, for global sort of adoption? I think that is very important. So the sort of parting message from me would be innovate, validate, and then publish it. Thank you so much, and please for my voice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What a nice, and you PGs all are lucky that you have such an encouraging words from a person like Sabyasachi about the research. And I hope this validate means the whole seminars will make a difference in your life. You have to judge it, how it's going to make it a change in your approach towards the residency. The get it as a fiddle and the talk by Hirika and Dr. Pinak as their excellent talks. So as I remember this time the dean's address when I joined the MBBS, and what he says that you are here after 12th, you are in one of the greatest profession in the world, but enjoy everything, but don't forget why you are here. So he said, no, you are here to excel in your exams, to get pass with the flying colors and come into the world as a better doctor, what we can see in our perspective as a future good ophthalmologist. So this is equally important as like an important of various aspects of residency, excel in your exams. And the person who is going to speak on it is Dr. Rishikesh Deshpande. Over to you, Dr. Rishikesh. And followed by the commentary by the mentor, Dr. Rajesh Joshi, sir.
Yes, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Is my screen visible?
Yes. Your screen is visible.
Okay. All right. So I'll start. At the outset, I am very glad that I have the opportunity to speak to several of my teachers, some old ones, some new ones. So thank you, MOS, for giving us this opportunity. And without further ado, good evening. For the longest time, examinations have existed as a double-edged sword. On one hand, they remain a method of evaluation that has withstood the test of time. But on the other, the very mention of an upcoming test is enough to elicit exam fever. Let's explore this never-ending world of proving one's competence in the form of 3 pertinent questions. Number 1, why do we have examinations? We are a profession that relies heavily on clinical skills, which come only with real-world scenarios. So why bother writing countless theory exams and sit for those practicals, many of which leave us wanting to bury our heads in the sand and generate even more anxiety for the next month? Well, for starters, a formal examination allows standardization. Unless you have special friends in the department, everyone is treated as an equal. Hence, the responses received can be used as an accurate marker of one's level of knowledge. Examinations also allow record keeping of one's academic performances and provide credibility both to the student and the institution. Imagine your MBBS without a single viva or your post-graduation without any cases presented. Would you have bothered to read more, learn more if the stimulus of examinations did not exist? The answers lie in the study pattern seen in the students. The closer you are to examinations, the more likely you are to be found in the library than on the sports grounds. Exams force you to be more competent. Now that we know why exams are important, let's examine the second question, how to get better at them. I was one of the students who, throughout MBBS, would lose sleep, appetite, and enthusiasm because of the fear of examinations, more specifically, the fear of failing. The prospect of holding a pen and writing whatever came to my mind on a piece of paper for 3 hours, followed by an even scarier face-to-face viva, was enough to make me wonder, why the hell do we do this to ourselves? Now that I'm on the other side, I realized there was a very big psychological reason for my poor preparation, and hence poor performance. After having done poorly in the initial few exams, I had a fixed, unshakable mindset that I am bad at examinations, that no matter what I do, I can never excel. That's because I was putting too much pressure on myself. Constant comparison with peers better than me wasn't helping either. It took some maturity to understand that the challenge of exams should be a personal endeavor and not a comparison meter, that it should be a marathon and not a sprint. Cramming few days before the paper wasn't doing any good, neither for the exams nor for my clinical practice. Start early, a few months before the exams instead of a few weeks. Unlike other professions where the nature of one's theoretical education can differ widely from the practical work they do, our profession is unique in the sense that what we learn is also what we exactly practice. Remember, you're not studying for the silly mid-semester examination whose score you will forget after a few years, unless you did fantastically well. You're studying so that the information you gather today helps you deliver better healthcare services tomorrow. But certain questions that obviously come to our mind is if I study too much, I will forget too much as well. True, forgetting is as physiological as remembering. But as the old saying goes, it is better to have known and subsequently forgotten than to have never known at all. No education or information is a waste. Everything we read has a direct or indirect impact on our thinking process. Unable to remember the visual pathway? Read it again tomorrow. Still finding it difficult? Draw the diagram. First by looking at the reference textbook, then from memory. Is it too much work for too little results? Seems like that. But ask any expert in any field, and they will tell you what separated them from the pack was this persistence and attention to detail, going the extra mile, reading 2 chapters instead of one, practicing the pathway for internuclear ophthalmoplegia 5 times instead of just twice. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Many students say, oh, there's too much pressure in the examination hall. I panic and I'm unable to think clearly. That is bound to happen because the first time you took a pen and paper was in the examination hall. Athletes use a technique called as the gladiator in the arena, where they deliberately put themselves in stressful situations in practice so that when the real game comes, they have put themselves through all possible eventualities. The goal is not just to survive, it is to thrive. Finally, if all else fails, if you're asked to describe a tree, but you have no idea, tie a goat to whom you know a lot about, then describe the goat. Irrelevant but logical knowledge is still better than illogical knowledge. The final question, is there a better way to conduct examinations? Academic pressure is on the rise. We are noticing an uptrend in anxiety and mood disorders in young children, many attributed to exam pressure. Specifically for the medical profession, if most of our professional experience comes from the clinical practice, why bother with exams at all? The answer is that there is no method of testing which is as widely accepted, as convenient, and as standardized as the traditional pen and paper plus Viva. Online and distant education without compromising quality is on the rise. But until it gets more readily welcome, our best bet is to perform well in examination by preparing ourselves to the best of our capacities, making the sacrifice of spending a few extra hours instead of partying, compromising a little on sleep if they're spending academic work. It will all be worth it because those are the things that will count. And finally, your battle is with yourself. Your barometers of performance should be compared with yourself and yourself alone and not the batch topper because we are all running different races. Lastly, we are unknowingly taking examinations on a daily basis. Each patient we see, each test result we interpret, each decision we make in our personal lives is a test. And if testing ourselves on a daily basis is the rule of life, then why fear it at all? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think it was a like absolutely very lucid presentation, and I'm sure that you must have truly excelled in your exams with all the passion that you have spoken. So thank you so much. It was wonderful. And now, of course, and now, of course, we go on to Dr. Rajesh G. Joshi, who is going to give us his own mentor's view on the same. Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Rishikesh, you presented very well, and you presented as if you are an examiner. Okay, and these are my perspectives as a teacher. Yeah. Excellence does not come overnight, and there is no formula for getting excellence in an examination. So the plan for this small commentary is why you want to excel, how, and what are my perspectives about excelling in an exam. Now, these are the various reasons when you get admission into postgraduate. These are the reasons why do you want to excel: for patient care and safety, for professional competence. There are various career opportunities which you get, but these are available once you pass the exam. For personal growth and confidence, contributing advancement in the field, setting high standard, building professional reputation, continuous improvement in the knowledge, and the personal fulfillment. Now, what are challenges in the field? If you see, ophthalmology is a fast growing branch, and one needs to be aware of new changes in the disease management. Now, I'm speaking as if I am first year resident. Therefore, strong foundation of both theoretical and practical knowledge is essential. Now, how do you excel and what are the various strategies? This may vary from resident to resident. Ophthalmology has evolved into several subspecialties, and every subspecialty in itself is vast. Therefore, comprehensive study of anatomy to surgical intervention needs to be done. I think the target of completing 2 specialties per week, in my opinion, is a good option. But this could be variable. In first year of the residency, most of the time is spent in wards or in the OPD filling papers and all paperwork. But I think even if you take few hours of your JR1 ship, like reading basic things like anatomical part, physiological and biochemistry part, that will help you in JR2 and JR3. Interactive session, conductive interactive session with experts from each subspecialty is important. Like MOS or AIOS is conducting various webinars. They are of helpful to all residents. Attend guest lecture. If you are in some town and some CME is being held, you attend those lectures, panel discussion, or case presentation as well. Encourage active participation through question and answer session and discussions. Now, theoretical reading and clinical exposure should go hand in hand because that is a practical application of your knowledge to your theory and the clinical part. When you see any clinical case, detailed discussion of the case and interaction with peers and seniors is absolutely essential. In practical exam, common cases are kept and very basic and common questions are asked to build up viva to next level. This I am telling because many postgraduates, they must have joined today's webinar. Speak about common causes. Don't say about that some syndrome as a first cause. Integrated learning is absolutely essential. Many ophthalmic diseases have systemic associations. This is relevant to ophthalmic oncology, neuro-ophthalmology, neurology, and many more. Journal clubs, it is essential to know what is recent in the field as it holds particular importance. It helps to read the research papers as well. Case-based learning. Case presentation is the core of practical examination. Most of the time, passing or failing is decided on long cases. Present cases to senior residents, assistant professor, or you can practice amongst yourself. To improve presentation skill, you can teach undergraduates as well. This is what I usually tell my postgraduate to teach undergraduates to improve their skill of presentation. Theory examination, this is the basic things. Do not leave any question blank because if you leave any blank question, you are naturally going to get 0 marks only. Legible and clean writing is very important because where question ends, that is important because those who are checking question answer, they should know that where to stop and where to give marks. Flow charts and diagrams are important. Color coding is absolutely important. Follow time and writing practice is essential because after taking admission to postgraduate, we forget writing. And most of us are using computers and mobiles for writing, but that is not the way of examination now for theory. Reference book, there are various reference books which are available. But for me, the importance are still Kansky, Parson, and Jacobi. Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do. Thanks for your patience listening. Thanks to MOS for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajeshji. I think it was absolutely very clear, I think, from the examiner's point of view and from a teacher's point of view, clear guidelines for the students. And as you have rightly said, they have to not only pass the exams, but they have to become better ophthalmologists, in this journey, and that is going to be definitely a very big professional gain for them if they actually start at the right note. So thank you again. And now that we have understood how to pass our exams, now we are going to go on to the next topic, which is extremely important. And I think that is basically going to set, uh, let's say, your starting stone as a professional ophthalmologist is going to be how good a surgeon you become. So the next topic is going to be the master surgeon, and that is going to be dealt with by Dr. Padma Priya Karkhande. And then the expert commentary is by Dr. Saurabh Patwardhan as a mentor for this topic. Over to you.
Vadaman sir, if I may interrupt, just ask one question here. I know we are getting late, but
Yes, sure, sure.
Rajesh sir, as we see in Viva, few of the students are very well read, as you said, regarding articles and everything. And sometimes they know a lot about something, and they try to answer everything that they know in a way, blabber out everything, so they don't want to miss anything. But sometimes that sounds as argumentative to the examiner, because the examiner might have a certain different perspective, like having a different opinion from other surgeon. And like as we have been goldenly taught that examiner is always right, but sometimes students don't understand during the stress answering the viva. So sir, what tip you will tell to the students that how to avoid this mistake during the exam, and not to overdo something?
Yeah, this is absolutely essential. But I usually tell my resident that you don't argue with examiners because he's always right and he's on the other side of the table. So never argue with an examiner. That is the most important thing, I suppose. Because they have their fixed ideas and students may have different ideas. So whatever they say is the perfect, and they should agree or abide by whatever they say, examiners. So ultimately your passing and failing depends upon their marks.
So, Mit, anything else you would like to add to this, or any other question you have?
Vardhaman, what I think we should be, whatever is asked, that much answer should be given. I think we should be
Yes,
concise to the question, whatever is asked. We should
absolutely,
not
sir.
overshoot, or you should not be very smart enough.
Right. So you should not overdo it, as you have correctly said.
Overdo, yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Great. All right. So I think with this, we will go on to the next topic, which is be the master surgeon. So Dr. Padma Priya, if you're ready, you can start your presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm visible.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to talk about how we can be the master surgeon. I'm Dr. Padma Priya, and I am extremely honored to have this opportunity of all the stalwarts, as well as hopefully. So so now let's look at the recipe to good surgery. And if you're a 90s kid, you probably know sugar, spice, and everything nice. But yeah, so the sugar, spice, and everything nice here is the correct technique, right? That's what everyone thinks. But the truth is that there is actually none. So now I'm sure you're confused when I say there is no real correct technique. I'll tell you why. So the reason is that everyone has their own favorite technique, and you learn from 5 people, you're going to have 5 different techniques. So it's not that this is the right. Of course, there are certain wrong ways of doing it, but always it depends on what you're comfortable with and what works best for you. So I'm going to talk about basically what Dr. Agrawal sir said in the beginning, that preparing is more important than the actual work that you're going to face. So I'm going to talk about that. So planning, perseverance, and practice. And only then can come perfection. Now, how do I begin? Your surgery and being a master surgeon begins even before you've actually started your surgery. So how much you read, how much knowledge you have is the most important. You don't even know the anatomy of the eye, there's no way you're going to be able to operate on the eye. Watch videos. Means it's highly underrated, but watch videos, watch how every single person does the surgery, because you're able to have access to so many more teachers than the ones who are actually in front of you by access to YouTube. We have access to such technology, and I think it's really important to make the best use of it. Make a mind map. That is, now you've read, you've watched the surgeries. So now consolidate that in your head. So this is how you go about, this is the anatomy of the limbus. So this is how I've seen people make a tunnel. So this is how I need to make my tunnel. So consolidate what you've seen and read and seen other surgeons also, and make a mind map in your head even before you've even touched a real eyeball. And you have to make a checklist. So you know, okay, so now I've read this, I've done this. Be prepared in prior. You know what you have to operate on, you know what you have to do. Always be prepared prior before you actually go, and don't face it like something completely new. So before you've prepared, you're all set. Now you're going to the actual field to do your surgery. So during, most importantly, keep calm. I know it's a high stress situation. You're thinking of so many things together, but keep your mind calm. Leave everything else outside the door of the OT. Leave your outside slippers, leave your outside thoughts, and walk in with a fresh and clean mind. Visualize everything before you're actually doing it. So you've seen someone operate, you've seen the videos of it. Visualize that when you're going to operate, and visualize the best tunnel you've ever made before you actually make the tunnel, because visualization always works. Start slow. You might have seen people operate at top speed. You're not there yet. You will be there, but you're not there yet. So what's this thing to do is to start slow. If you take one uppercase, it's fine. Start slow. Do it at your speed. I'm sure you're going to get faster as you do further. And it's never a mark of cowardness to ask for help. If you feel you're getting stuck, if you feel there's something you don't know, always ask for help, because at the end of the day, you're operating on a real person, and your quest to learn cannot be something that person loses their eyesight for. Next, you've finished, you've closed everything, patient is out of your table, so you're done. No, you're not done, because after the surgery is as important as the surgery you've actually performed. Follow up your patient. Always follow up your patient, because only then you know, are you getting better? Have you done the surgery well? How's the cornea? How's the IOP of the patient? How's the lens? How's the vision? All those are marks of you as a surgeon, you and how calm you've been and how good you've done. Assess yourself. Okay, today my tunnel was good. Today this was good. Today my rhexis was good. But no, my delivery was bad. So always assess what went right and what went wrong, which makes it a lot easier for you in your next surgery to know what to continue and what not to. Discuss with your peers and your seniors about what they have learned. So which makes it a lot more better for you in every next case that you've done. And after all this, pat yourself on the back, because you are done with the surgery at the end of the day. You've learned something new. You've given something good for your patient. You've treated someone. So kudos to you. Few things to remember. Patient comes first. You might be learning. You might be, you want to do more always. But remember, the patient only has two eyes. So you cannot be experimenting all the time. The patient and his needs come first. Don't compare yourself to your peers or your seniors, because everyone learns at their own speed. Some learn fast, some learn slow. It's okay. Don't compare yourself. If you're taking a little longer, it's completely all right. If you're faster, good for you. Always make sure you stay at that speed and always get better. Now, there are two contradictory statements. One is to take risks and to be bold. At the same time, be cautious. So you take calculated risks. Know what you can do, and make sure you take risks only in that much boundary. So you know you're not risking anything too much that someone else can't handle. But at the same time, you have to be bold, otherwise you're never going to move forward. Few tips and tricks: maintain a logbook, because as you see that your complications are getting less, your numbers are getting more, you actually feel a lot more confident that, wow, I've done so much. I'm sure I can do a lot more. Choose a mentor, because that mentor can tell you from scratch till how much now you have progressed. Are you actually getting better? What's your strength? What's your weakness? What else can you try? And what is your basic technique, which your mentor can teach you? That this is the right way, you're comfortable with your rhexis like this, continue to do it this way. So finding a mentor is extremely important. And to learn a basic technique that as you're always trying to experiment on, you always know you can fall back on one technique that you know is always working for you. Training your tummy is something that is really, really important, that you're not going to think of. Make sure you know you're going to operate the next day. Make sure you're not eating a lot of junk or anything the day before, eating very heavy, eating something that doesn't suit you. Before you enter the OT, make sure you've used the washroom, be fresh, enter the OT, so that you're not thinking of 100 other things of an upset stomach when you're operating on a patient. And to master your mind, Because even though there are so many things that are going on in our minds, at that point, that microscope, that eye, and that scalpel in your hand is the only thing that really matters. To train your mind and your body to concentrate on one thing. Now, how do I know that I'm actually getting better? Obviously, your outcomes, vision, everything is better. You know that your speed is getting better. You feel more confident in taking up more complicated cases. You actually know what your limits are, that, okay, I can go up till here. And you know that your complication rates are getting less. Always assist your seniors so you know that the things that they're doing and you get to learn from them. And always teaching is the best way of learning. So always assist your juniors as well. Remember, ophthalmology is a lot beyond cataract. So to get better than in cataract surgeries as well, go with extraocular surgeries, the lacrimal surgeries, pterygium, INCs, even eye donation like CS remote enucleations. Practicing suturing and wet lab practicing is of most importance. So don't just think that cataract is the only thing in ophthalmology, because there's so much more to it as well. And if you feel you're not getting better immediately, apart from surgery, there is your clinical acumen, there's research, there's teaching. There is so much optometry. Everything is involved in your subject. So pay attention to all of those. Calm down. Your surgical practice will get better as you do it. The moral of the story is to keep calm and be awesome, because each one of you is awesome. Thank you. Never stop learning.
Wonderful. I think very concisely, Padma Priya, I think you have shared the pulse, and I'm sure it is, at least in surgeries, it is easier said than done, because surgery is a journey that everybody has to take on their own. And who better than giving the pulse on this by now? The next one is going to be by Dr. Saurabh Patwardhan, a very good friend of mine for over 2 decades, and of course, not only a master surgeon, but also a master surgical mentor. So over to you, Saurabh, for your masterly pulse on the same topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Vardhaman, for the invitation. And it's a very interesting webinar. I think first time I'm attending such webinar, and it's going to be quite useful for us as well. And Padma Priya, I think you covered most of the things very nicely. So I will just add a few things which I think more based on my experience of training so many surgeons now for last many years. So I think one thing which I look for when anyone joins me for learning is, and that is the most important thing which I feel, is whether the surgeon, that person, is going to be a master surgeon or master clinician, and that is the attitude of that person. I think that makes a huge difference. If the attitude is positive, always ready to learn anything, not complaining all the time whether he's getting less work or more work. I think that kind of attitude has to be there, because it's a long run. You have to learn over a period of time, and that has to be, that kind of attitude really takes you off, even when you are not getting enough work, even if you are not getting enough clinical work, or even if you don't have good teachers. That attitude will make you work hard and learn from whatever resources that you have. I think that is the most crucial thing for someone to be a master surgeon. Second thing, as you rightly said, that you have to be prepared. So many times I see that trainees or fellows come to the OT, and if I ask them certain question about the case, they don't know anything. They don't know the basics also, and which they can read anywhere or just watch, on internet or YouTube, anything. So unless the trainee's mind is there in whatever he's going to do on that day, so he has to be, or she has to be prepared for whatever so many times we have fellows or trainees who are, seeing the surgery going on, and not all of them are observing actually what is going on. They just see, they don't analyze particularly, and they do not have any questions about that particular thing being done. Many times I do a very difficult surgery or complex surgery, and only one of them will actually ask, sir, this was something different which I didn't see last time, or last case was different. So that is the power of observation. That takes you a long way, because it's not just cataract, but there are so many specialties, as you said. So every case is slightly different from other. And to be a master surgeon, you have to be skilled in a such a way that whatever is the variation in that particular, surgery, you should be able to tackle it. And that comes only by observation, because whenever you have very short span in learning, maybe 2 or 3 years as a fellow, or maybe as a resident. So in that period, whatever variations you are seeing, you have to keep on observing, because maybe in next 10 years you may not get similar case, but on 11th year you may get such case. And you, if you have observed it correctly, I think you will be much more better position to tackle that case. Third thing I think is to be mindful, because I feel that like the same way like observation, whenever you are operating or you are doing the surgery, you have to be mindful of all the things which are there. Like for example, if you are doing cataract surgery, you have to be mindful what machine I am using, what settings are being done. Like many trainees, they do not know whether they are using peristaltic machine or a venturi machine, what settings are being put. You have to be mindful, you have to ask your assistant as well to learn about these things. What I feel is that what makes someone a better learner, or who is going to be a master surgeon very quickly, is the analytical skills. So generally what I do is that after the the fellow or trainee does certain number of cases, I make sure I tell my colleagues also not to tell anything to that surgeon while the surgeon is operating, and just observe what decisions that person is making when he or she is facing some difficulty. And that is the analytical skill that we have to judge. Once a surgeon or a trainee develops that analytical skill, it is then a self learning experience. Then he doesn't have to depend on anyone else to learn, because when he leaves the institute and starts his private practice or starts his own case, there is no one going to tell him what to do. So that is when he has to have that analytical skill of what is going on and what should be my next step. If that is developed in that surgeon, even if he has done 20-30 cases, I definitely know that he is going to be successful in his surgeries. Next is, many times I get calls from certain surgeons that I have no experience so far in this particular surgery, but I want to learn. And there are other types of surgeons who say that I almost know everything, but just I need to come there to polish my skills. Okay. And what do you think, Padmapriya, is easier to teach? Which kind of surgeon who has approached?
The one who actually has no exposure, I think.
Definitely, because unlearning is so difficult. Some surgeons who come to me for training, they have learned so many bad things, or they haven't got good ideas, or it was self learned. So to unlearn that is very difficult. So I think when you begin, you have to keep on visiting good surgeons, keep on observing their skills, so that you don't pick up bad habits from maybe not watching good surgeons. So I think that is very important, which you should keep in mind. Then, as you rightly said, you have to find mentors. So you need not follow single mentor, you can have multiple mentors. And nowadays it's possible because of technology, you can follow various YouTube channels. What I did when I finished my residency is that I almost visited 5 to 7 different institutes and work with each surgeon for almost 5 to 7 days, just observing what the surgeon is doing. And that gives you much better idea, or as you say, much better way of looking at things in a different perspective, and you can pick so many things from their years of experience in by just observing them for just few days. So I think these are few tips I wanted to tell how to become a master surgeon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
wonderful. Absolutely. Beautiful tips, Saurabh. And actually, of course, the kind of experience you have now with training so many students who come to you. So it is natural that you understand what problems that they face. One thing that quickly I would like to probably add a small comment and also ask both of you is, like, if there is a facility for the resident or the fellow to actually record his own videos, so it is a great tool for them that they should go and rewatch their own videos, because when they do that, they actually analyze it, they do it much better the next time. I think their overall learning becomes, I think, faster, and probably, as you said, the analytical mind starts to develop much faster. So I think this is one of the things that probably the residents and the fellows, if the facility is available, of course, they can try and implement that. If there are any other...
Padma Priya has very well told about the logbook. You
logbook,
know,
yeah.
Shankar Netralaya, we used to maintain our logbooks
Yes,
after each
yes.
surgery. So I think
Absolutely,
that is
sir.
a good idea. That is also analysis only. So I
Yes.
think that will give you the tips. And second,
Yes.
one more thing is what we should not do. That we
Yes.
should know.
Yes.
What is don'ts. And
Don't. Very good
also
topic.
learn one step at a time. Don't go for too many steps to
Yeah,
learn.
it's very true.
Third is before going for any surgery, how to handle the complication of that step. One should know. If your incision is not proper, what is to be done in such situation? One should know beforehand, I think. So that should be the approach in any surgery. And you should be well prepared before any surgery, whether it is a common surgery or whether you are regularly doing the surgery. But every case is different, as already you have said. And also, I seek opinion from Dr. Santosh Honawar sir and Dr. Krishna Prasad about their take on this.
I think I resonate only, with one thing with Dr. Saurabh. He said some PGs or some people, trainees, watch the videos when we are operating, and some of them connect, some of them don't connect. I normally, in a very, joking way, I say that it's like watching a Korean movie without subtitles. Everything is nice. They're really into it, but they don't really make any sense of it. So that says it all. Because some of the PGs would have seen me operating. When the same step comes, they know what to do. Some of them would have seen me 100 times, but still, when they come to that, they have not really connected. They're just seeing. They're not really trying to know anything out of it. I think that's a very important virtue of an observer, a trainee, to get better at it.
Yeah, wonderful tip. Absolutely.
Well,
And
now,
Dr.
sir-
Honawar, sir, yes.
Yeah, I think, when you observe, it's not just the surgeon or the television monitor or the monitor that you're observing, but you're also supposed to observe how the surgeon is holding the instrument, which instrument is he calling for, how is the assistant on the right side assisting, what is she or he doing, how is the assistant on the left side if you have one assisting. Everything as a package. It is not just that you're just looking at the surgical steps, but how is that particular step performed? How are the fingers of the surgeon moving? How is he holding the instrument? Everything has to be observed as a package. And I suggest to my fellows at least to make 3 columns. In the first column, they write what the surgeon is doing, along with the instrument, calling the instrument by name. In the second column, what is the person on the right side is doing, and in the third, what is the person in the left side is doing, and the significance of each. If they do it one surgery a day for 3 months, or within 3 months, they would have completed the entire spectrum of oculoplasty and oncology. That's all. After that, you simply need to revise. So, and video logbooks are important. Logbooks earlier we used to maintain written, and Excel sheets came. Now you can actually plug in Excel, hyperlink your videos to that Excel sheet so that you have your video clips there, right? In the logbook. Recording is a great idea. Now with the mobile phone recording of even surgical steps, it's become a wonderful tool to record. So you can record, edit, and keep your videos and learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would just like to add, as sir used to tell us, first become very good assistants. So once you are very good assistants, you automatically know, if you know where, especially for plastic surgeries, you know what the surgeon needs to see, and you retract it properly while you're doing your own surgery. It becomes like very easy because you are used to that thing. So
absolutely.
Vardhaman, can I add a quick point? Sabyasachi here.
Yes, Sunny. Yes.
Yeah. So, I think for a trainee or an observer, it's important to think, what would I do if I was in this position? And then, what is the surgeon doing? Is it the same thing, or is it being done slightly differently? Or, it's exactly the same thing. So I think that gives you all the things that Saurabh and KP sir were saying, that mindfulness and that, sort of observing properly. So what would I do? Is it the same thing that the surgeon is doing? I think that one question really gives you that perspective. Thanks.
Yes. Yes,
So I
absolutely.
would like to add just one point regarding the recording that you were saying. The facility is now available on even Amazon. You can get, it's very cheap. You just get an adapter that you can clip onto the microscope itself, and you attach your mobile phone to that. So we don't really need any expensive equipment to record your surgeries and watch. So as you say, recording is really important, and there's a lot easier way to do it as well now.
Absolutely. I think that is definitely, it will go a long way in learning. Absolutely. Yes.
I just wanted to share one very interesting experience that we had with one particular trainee that we had. So like what told about the attitude, this particular trainee, she was doing post graduation. During post graduation, she couldn't do much, and whatever she did, she had complications. So she was labeled as a bad surgeon there. Then she visited some centers for fellowship. Again, the same thing happened, that she had complications to begin with, and again she was termed like she most likely will not be able to learn. Then she visited us for training, and the same thing happened with in our center also. Like right from the incision, she had trouble in making right ways and having complications. So after 3-4 cases, I think we discussed with her that we feel that something is lacking. So we did her orthoptic workup also, whether she is actually able to see or not, whether that is the problem. Everything was all right. Then I discussed whether she would like to continue with the surgical training or not, because maybe she doesn't have that knack. So I think what she told was very important. What she did, she said that sir, I think I have already accepted that I am a very bad surgeon, or I am not going to be a surgeon, but I want to take this as a last chance, because this is where I want to see whether I can really learn or not. So I said that you do one thing, you start observing all other, trainees and fellow surgeries. That is your job. And she was literally standing right from morning 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., watching everyone else operating without a break, without just short breaks. But she was observing all the surgery, and she may get just, 1 or 2 steps at the end of the day. She was doing this for almost 2 weeks. And after that, we again restarted her training. And to our surprise, she did amazingly well. And this was a new person altogether after that, because I think the attitude was right. She was there to learn. She wanted to make all the efforts, not taking any breaks, just being there, observing all the time. And this is very difficult to do after maybe spending 5-6 years in ophthalmology doing that. I think that is what I want to tell to all young surgeons. If they have such problems initially, don't worry, be there, put in your efforts, and I think you will still become a good surgeon even after the first bad experiences.
Yeah, I think great. I think case study, I will say, sort of to share with everybody. Very encouraging for people who probably may face initial hiccups, and that can happen to many people, as we understand. And I think, as you said, the attitude is probably the most important cornerstone if you want to achieve anything in life, especially if you want to do something in medicine, in surgery. And I think in this case scenario also about this girl, that's what has helped her. And also what has helped her is, I think, giving her the right direction by your team and giving her the right guidance that time as well. So cholo, thank you to you, Saurabh, and for all the panelists for excellent comments about this very important topic. And now we go on to our next topic, which is like, once you have done your residency, you have cleared your exams, you have been a very good clinician, a master surgeon, as we have said. Now, what makes you industry ready, and how is your employability overall? And how you can achieve, maybe step towards it if you want to venture into, let's say, in this corporate world. And to take us through this is, we have none other than Dr. Krishna Prasad, who is been a very revered teacher nationally. There are so many students that he has trained clinically, surgically, and they all love him so much. I have seen it for so many years. So over to you, Dr. KP, for this particular topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Vardhaman. Thank you, MOS, Vardhaman, and Sumit, and all the others for the opportunity. I really, as Saurabh put it, it's a learning experience for us also among all these bright kids here. So, industry readiness and employability. I think little weird topic. I just told Sumit I insisted on this topic. So what is industry readiness? Like ophthalmic industry is a very big industry, a booming industry. And let me congratulate that you're all in the right place. Ophthalmology is a great place to be because we have a lot of booms. We have already seen the cataract boom, the phaco boom, the refractive surgery boom, and very soon we'll be having a presbyopia surgery boom. Over so many years, we have seen the surgical techniques, the gadget use, and the patient satisfaction levels, and the things that we are doing is evolving so much that there is a demand for a well-trained ophthalmologist. You can see the amount of venture capitalists, investments, the amount of the establishments coming up. So where are the good doctors for it? That means there is going to be a need for a well-trained, competent ophthalmologist. So that is going to be the industry readiness. After your post-graduation or even a fellowship training, are you ready to take this opportunity, grab the opportunity? And the next thing is the word that I always is the employability. What is that single most thing after your postgraduate training that actually defines the adequacy or the so-called the completeness or the very goal of your postgraduate training? So it is basically employability. If you are not going to be employed, what is the use of your postgraduate degree? Either it is self-employment in your own setup or joining a corporate group or a group practice. If you are not really, welcomed with open arms by the organization, then what is the use of getting even a first rank in a university or getting a gold medal? So basically, most of these inadequacies during the postgraduate training, for whatever reasons, let's not go there, is basically compensated by, or the people tend to compensate it by fellowships. Now the fellowships has become the in thing. There's a huge demand. So what is happening really is whatever that was not learnt in the postgraduate training, that the people are trying to compensate in the fellowship. Fellowship were meant to be actually as polishing process. It is basically you are an ophthalmologist and you need some polishing, you need to hone your skills. It is a process in which a resident becomes metamorphosized into a consultant. The conversion or your how you turn into a consultant, a proper competent consultant, that was the actual aim of a fellowship program. But we are now trying to teach people what they should have learned in your post graduation, which is actually an unfortunate thing. So now, why does this happen? Why most of the people do not feel that they're employable, which is an actual reality many a times, and why they are not ready for the industry? The most important thing is the gap between what is the real world ophthalmic practice versus what is the actual scenario in their training institute. Whatever it's a medical college or a trust hospital, wherever. If that training institute, the ecosystem is not really, in line with what is the present day practice pattern or the ecosystem, then there is going to be a gap. The student is going to learn something or going to get nurtured in a particular ecosystem, and she has to adapt to a different thing. So especially in places where it is a free patients are treated, or where it's a where the patients do not have so much of patient rights, or people may not be really accountable, there may be shortage of gadgets, there will be shortage of input. So all these actually lead to some kind of a gap that sometimes the student do not realize. Once they are get their degree, they are in for a rude shock that the whole practice, the world is moving somewhere else, but the practice that they learned or whatever they did was something totally different. And the second important thing is that was already been discussed by Dr. Rishikesh and the mentors about the exams. The students are too much obsessed with passing the exam. It's a fear. That is something they need to cross over first to get into anything. See, I myself confess that I've been running a program to help the students to pass the exam. I very clearly say here it's not to teach you ophthalmology. This is to just to make you pass the exam, because we teach you the tricks and the how to pass the exam, which is actually something which is a hard reality, because the people, if the exams may not always really assess your industry readiness or employability. Basically, we need to really revise and reform our exam system. So when the student become too much get into just in the way to just to pass the exam, then they actually lose very important time period in which they can actually get better oriented to that. And the attitude of the present system, I'm actually do with, I am very sad to basically tell you that there is a very slow learner approach. Most of the people, today's people, there is no, we don't really see that fire in the belly. I don't sound like an old school, but still that fire in the belly attitude, what we were discussing, the approach or the attitude of the student is extremely important, which will make all the difference. Because people think that they have an access to information, their online resources, they can always see it later. But in the process, they really do not, they end up actually learning less. There is actually, they're not challenged enough. They basically lower the bar so that they actually get into this kind of a very comfortable zone, because to pass the exam, they may not really know everything. Yeah. So basically, we run a program for surgical ophthalmology for postgraduates called Sushrita Junior. There, when we discuss surgery, I'm shocked to know that many of the postgraduates really do not know the present day, the norm or the standard of care of cataract surgery. I asked them a question: what IO will they want it in their mother's or father's eye? They don't have the right answer. So many of them are not, even though the Barrett Universal 2 is available free online, many of them not using that. They're still using the old SRK formula. They're still doing contact biometry. So they have to be updated in whatever way that is possible with the present day thing. So basically, then what to do? Say what to do, then how to basically get around this problem. I just have few tips about it. The first is to connect the dots. When you are there, just like we told about observing a surgical thing. So now, whenever, whatever ecosystem you are in, try to connect the dot, try to know everything from first to last. Most of the postgraduates will have only a small part of the story. They will see the intro-op part, they may not see the post-op treatment, they may not know the counseling, they may not see the pre-op. So basically, a case, a surgical or otherwise, they need to know all steps the patient goes through: pre-operative, intraoperative, post-operative, all that other follow-up, what happens. So if they know, connect all the dots, they get a better idea. And there is no dearth of information. Any surgery. In the same program, I asked, many had not seen them, some of the basic glaucoma surgeries. They're not seen an AGV, surgery. They are not actually known about even bang or GAT, which is so commonly done nowadays. So there is no actually a short supply of surgical videos or mentors teaching you online. The whole world is a classroom. Nobody prevents you from. At the same time, you should always understand that the postgraduate time is too short. 3 years is too short to learn ophthalmology. So they need to do things. They need to be in a hurry. They cannot relax, and they need to actually, take up so much of information in a very short time. And exams will come and go. That should not be your defining goal. That should not be basically trying to, set a path for you. You need to understand. You need to be a competent, well-serving ophthalmologist tomorrow. That should be basically the driving force. And wet lab. Wet labs, some institutions have, but with the amount of, the monthly stipend, most of them you receive, you all can actually do a crowdfunding, buy a second-hand or a refurbished microscope. Even you can buy a refurbished phaco machine. You can set up your own wet lab. You can probably pass on the shares to the incoming batches. There is no dearth of money. Basically, there has to be some innovation in order to make good for the shortage or the absence of a wet lab in the setting. Wet lab is extremely important. Wet labs are organized in conferences, make the best use. Even the AOS conference has SSTCs where surgical training happens. And these are all the very important avenues that actually every postgraduate should make good of. And finally, choose a mentor. You have a lot of people already in this. You have Dr. Santosh, Dr. Vardhaman. Okay. So Dr. Sumit, these are the people to look up to. So when PG is not about teaching, it's about mentoring, postgraduate training and fellowship training. So choose a mentor, follow them, just try to copy paste their behavior into your clinical practice. I think you should attend such postgraduate program. There is so much of information that comes around, so inspiring. And basically keep asking yourself during your postgraduate training or fellowship training, are you employable? When are you going to be employable? Are you ready for this big booming industry that is so, plush with so much of name, fame, money, and peer and patient recognition? So you need to ride the wave. The tomorrow is very, very bright. I feel the ophthalmology field is extremely exciting and very rewarding. I think all of you should make the best use of this opportunity. And I thank once again the MOS for the opportunity, and all the best for the young kids who are going to be the future ophthalmologists of tomorrow.
Great. Thank you so much, sir. I think this was a very optimistic yet very realistic, I think, talk. And I'm sure, I think this question, whether am I employable, is very important to keep asking, even if you don't land up with corporates, even if you start your own private practice, but being employable in your own private practice itself. So basically, it is a very practical pearl that you have shared with everybody, and I'm sure that they are going to get a lot of encouragement with your talk. And I know, of course, that you are such a mentor of mentors. I mean, you are one of the best mentors that postgraduates have right nationally, and with what passion you drive your PG courses. I've had opportunity and honor of being there as faculty and really seen your enthusiasm and passion. So thank you for all the things that you have done for so many decades also from the team MOS. If there are any questions to Dr. KP by any other panel or any of our young stars, they are most welcome to ask them.
Yeah. I think one of the things which I feel makes you employable or maybe sellable, one of the things is excellent communication skill. I feel even if you cannot do surgery, even if you cannot do good refraction, even if you cannot diagnose, if you can speak very nicely and if you have nice people around you who can do that for you, I think you are not just employable, you can earn quite a good amount of money also with. I think that is something absolutely missing whenever we are going through residency or even fellowship.
Exactly. I think that's something, that's why I told you, you need to sit behind a mentor and just copy paste whatever they say. So, because all those years of experience, you can just, immediately start emulating them. And communication skill is the best way to embellish your surgical skills and clinical skills.
Yes. Dr. Santosh Agarwal, sir, any comment or any question to KP,
That's
sir?
very true. Many times, very good clinician or the who is always stood first in the college or something like that, they also fail in their private practice just because lacking the personality or communication skill. So we have to be good to speak about and your behavior and your knowledge, skill, everything counts in practice and as well as in your career. So I think we should look after every aspect of our personality to be
Absolutely.
successful.
Great. Absolutely. Any other questions, Dr. Tulji or Aditi, if you want to ask anything to Dr. KP, sir, or if you have a
Mandar
comment?
is there. Mandar.
Yeah. Dr. Mandar, sir, are you there? He was there when I saw him last time. Yeah.
He just had to leave for something.
Okay.
Sure. So Aditi or Dr. Tulji, one of you, if you have any comment or any question for Dr. KP.
I think it was a very nice and realistic talk, I would say, because like while planning a residency or maybe a fellowship, one thing which you always need to be like calculating about the timeline and everything is employability. So the what you actually want, what amount of time you have in your hand, and what things you can like add to your residency to shorten that just experience hands-on thing while doing it will surely count, I guess.
It's entirely a different world. Once you shift from an residency and when you come to your private practice or you went to any sort of corporate, because the things which we were used to in residency, you may not get access to all those instruments, or you may have to face it to the first hand. While in the residencies, you always have a backup in mind that my seniors are there, So little bit the approach and everything gets different. You have to make prepare for all those things once to get enter into a practice. That is what I feel.
Correct.
Yes,
Very true.
absolutely. Absolutely. Great. Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. KP, sir. Amazing, as always, wonderful to listen to you. Very lucid and personal talk. Thank you again. Yes.
Thank you, Vardhaman, and all of this. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Now we go on to the extremely exciting and the last bit of the show where we have always seen our Dr. S.H. sir, Dr. Santosh Honavar, who has been such a torch bearer of Indian ophthalmology globally. And of course, right from his early times uh, to the current times, he has always done wonders, right from residency till now, when he actually received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Academy itself. So now this is a open forum for us to ask questions to Dr. Santosh Honavar, sir, and he has been kind enough to be here today to discuss about his journey, especially for the benefit of our postgraduates. But I'm sure that all of us will learn a lot. Yes. Yes. So over to you, Aditi, to run this show. Yes.
These are tough questions.
I would say it is like excellent opportunity to ask you questions to sir. I won't let go that opportunity because it was always the reverse way all.
What Sumit was telling, sir.
Welcome, sir, to the question.
Yeah, what Sumit was telling that
Yeah,
sir
exactly.
was used to ask many questions to us. Now this is our opportunity to ask the sir also.
Yeah, so I think we will probably start with Dr. Agarwal,
We
sir.
will maybe
Yeah.
start Dr. Santosh Agarwal.
Yes.
Sir,
So our president. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's an honor and pleasure to have you in this webinar, sir. We are fortunate enough and we welcome you to this MOS webinar.
Thank you, sir.
And you are a stalwart in ophthalmology, everybody knows. And our PGs also want to learn from your experiences, and especially your residency experiences. So my at the outset, I want to ask where and when did you did your fellowship or your residency?
Yeah. So I did at RP Center Ames. Do I have to mention the dates? Well, that was about 30 years ago. In 1992, I finished my junior residency, and 95 I finished my senior residency. That was senior residency is like fellowship, but that was in oculoplasty and also glaucoma because those two units were combined. And I did my fellowship at Wills Eye Institute, Philadelphia. That was in ocular oncology.
And whether you did your ophthalmology by choice or by chance?
Partly choice, partly chance, because I had only two choices. I was very clear that I would do a surgical residency, and general surgery and ophthalmology were the two choices. And I couldn't make it to general surgery. I was placed in the wait list, which never got vacated. So I had to join ophthalmology, which I liked. So there was no second thoughts at all. So after I joined RP Center, I never even took any other exam. Although there were opportunities in PGI, JIPMER, etc., I never explored any of that. I just stayed back.
Sir, yeah, I'm Dr. Atul here. Since as you had done your residency in RP centers, so you must be a very genius person. There is no doubt about it because no one will get admission in that center. But what was the experience, your experience in initial residencies days in the RP center? Just tell few words about it.
I think it was great. Actually, RP Center is a kind of, where knowledge is in the air. So you simply have to keep breathing and looking and you'll gain knowledge. It's such a, nice institute to start your residency where you're made very comfortable because there is what is called a group system. You have your vertical. You have your seniors who will definitely guide you. It's just like the second semester teaches the first semester and the third semester teaches the second semester. RP Center, we have the semester system where every 6 months there is a postgraduate batch that joins in. So we have about, I would say, 12 layers of cushion right up to the exam going PG. And then, of course, there are senior residents as well. So it's very difficult to kind of lose track in Apicenter. It's very easy to get integrated with the system because you have very nice friends. 6 months junior, you can't call them, teachers, but they are there to guide you. So you have a very nice system. So it's very easy.
Sir, one common thing that is nowadays because my son is also just get an admission in first year. See, the PGs before looking for an institution, they think more of a cutting, where cutting का हमारा मिलता है. So what do you feel? A residence should focus more on an academic part, or it should focus on more on a cutting part? I had some version for that for my son, but I want to listen from you.
So I think they should focus on learning part, learning ophthalmology or whatever. I mean, learning is more important than surgical skills. Surgical skills will be acquired and they will definitely come over a period of time. But they have to learn ophthalmology totally and comprehensively, all aspects of ophthalmology, because it's such an interesting field. Because finally, you never know when you're in first year or second year of residency which fellowship you're going to finally take, right? So learning a lot of cataract surgery is fine, but ultimately you may become a squint specialist or an oculoplasty specialist where cataract becomes secondary. So microsurgical skills are important, but at the same time, I think I would go for comprehensive learning. Surgical steps will come later.
So I would like to ask one thing, like a further continuation with this. Like these days, I have seen many people approaching to ask like which fellowship I should do and where I should do it. So do you think fellowship is must these days after a very good residency where they've got a comprehensive training about the clinical as well as surgical skills? And maybe I'll just add another question that if at all, like somebody wants to do a subspecialty fellowship, what criteria or what points you would think that they should think about before choosing their subspecialty?
Right. So I think passion is the only and most important criteria. You should have passion for that specialty, not go for financials as such. Second is practicality. Like if you're going to practice in a tier 3 city, you already know that you're going to practice in a tier 2 or tier 3 city that is your hometown where you really want to go back to. You don't want to be away from your family and parents. Then there is no point doing a fellowship which will restrict you to a particular focused area. Like ocular oncology obviously will have no place in a very small city because it has to be a referral based practice. You need a lot of backup facilities in terms of oncologists, chemotherapy, radiation, etc. So a good residency, broad-based residency where comprehensive ophthalmology is taught and practiced is good enough for a tier 2 or even a tier 3 city, right? But if you're sure that you're going to practice in a major city with all the facilities available, then you have to choose your fellowship, whatever it could be, and that is totally based on passion. Money will come later. It's not that cataract refractive everybody earns lucratively. That is not really true. Any specialty you can earn very well as long as you're passionate about it and you're going to propagate it. And how do you choose it? There are two ways of choosing it. One is based on the institute that will give you a pedigree for sure. I'm from this institute, that is the opening statement many people make. That will certainly identify you with the reputation of the institute. It gives you a tag. But at the same time, I feel that mentorship is more important. If I'm given an opportunity, I would go by the mentor and not by the institute.
Yes, absolutely.
That was going to be my next question. That whether you like people should choose a mentor or institute or how to customize, but that is already answered.
Yeah, if you can choose a great mentor in a great institute, that is absolutely good. But if that is not possible, I would go
fortunate
for
enough
the
to have that, sir.
Yeah, it is absolutely, and I think mentor's role in life is, I think, absolutely very pivotal. And the question that I will ask you, sir, probably not very easy to answer because, as you know, yeah, you are from, of course, RPC. There's so many great institutions, and there are maybe 20, 30 residents at a time in one batch. And of course, so many of them, like so many hundreds of them, have passed out from the same institute. So now, when you sit here today, what do you think are the 5 things that has actually made Dr. Santosh Honawar what he is today? what you would like to tell our residents? That will become an inspiration for them.
That's a very difficult question. It was
Yes,
never
I'm sure.
planned in any particular way. I think
Yeah.
I was guided or mentored to start very early. Like somebody, I think Sabyasachi talked about the value of compounding. Start very early. Start from day one of your residency. Every clinic, every patient is an opportunity to learn. In fact, I was actually mentored. Dr. Vajpayee, Dr. Mahipal Sachdev, Ramanjeet, Pradeep Sharma were the junior faculty. And you can imagine how great they must be. Even now, they're so active, enthusiastic, full of life, full of enthusiasm. And that was 10x at that time when they were just joined as assistant professors. So they all were extremely good mentors, and they would tell us that every day you have to read about one particular case that you have seen in the OPD or clinic, and read about one particular surgery that you have seen on that particular day. So you begin early and start making notes. And I would have one book, base book, as my base, one book as the base book. At that time, it was payment. Currently, there are many books that you can choose and keep on adding notes. So at the end of 3 years, my payment 3 volumes became like almost 6 or 9 volumes, because you keep on adding pages to it, read from everywhere and keep on adding pages. Then I would maintain a separate notebook or a series of notebooks for interesting facts or curios, which will help in answering quiz, or even earn brownie points by identifying a particular critical element in a particular case or a discussion. You come up with that. Never lose an opportunity to present, even if it is a case presentation or in a DOS meeting where you're simply presenting a 2-minute case. Never lose an opportunity to present, because that will definitely help you build up your confidence and public speaking and academics. Document everything and start. If it is a case presentation, I would go ahead and choose something that is unique and publishable. So at the end of it, I would sit and write and possibly try to publish some of the few
So I
things.
think probably, sir, one thing that probably we think that has probably also helped you is to teach as many people as you can, because I think when you have got into that mode, I think, of course, we have seen how great a teacher you have been, and all your fellows. Whenever of course, I meet them. I mean, I was never interested in oculoplasty, but I remember when I'd come to IPIP, like probably the first one that you had conducted. So one gets intrigued, romanticized of joining oculoplasty only because of Dr. Honawar.
You can
Teaching is
see
the best
the
way to learn, and I think my junior residents, such as KP was my junior resident. Krishna Prasad, he may be online. It was very interesting discussion that we used to have, and our rounds used to end at 11 o'clock at night, post admission rounds. 11, 12, and after that we would go out and have food together. It was continuing discussion all through. It was very nice. KP, you have any experiences to relate?
Actually, I would like to say that he was my direct teacher. He was my senior resident, and at 5 we would meet. I would have worked up the cases. From 6 onwards, still, as you said, it go into the night. Basically, whatever we are today was basically because of our senior residents, and thanks to Dr. Santosh, because it was a no holds barred approach. Because consultants and professors would be a little difficult to approach, but senior residents would actually will be very much willing and will be actually wanting to really transfer the knowledge and try to tell us new things. And we had a very friendly, cordial relation. I think RP Center was completely an amazing place where it was such a cordiality between the junior and senior residents, and they were all from the same ecosystem. So because everybody knew the drill, so we were trying to a JR from first, second, third year to SR. That was a natural evolution, and that was an excellent place where we could learn, and especially the group discussions.
Yeah.
We had a system where the junior had to be taught by the senior as a rule. So the group discussion where everybody would come together, everybody had to know, learn from their seniors. So this was like a compulsion, like ragging. It was a compulsion that everybody had to teach their juniors.
Right. So it was like in preparation for, suppose I had a grand round presentation, the day before evening, I would present the same case for the entire group. And they would simply tear you apart. The second semester would ask you questions about the anatomy. The third semester would ask questions about the clinical methods of examination, like that. Everybody would tear the presenter apart, and at the end of the presentation, at the end of that group discussion, you would be a much better person. Next day morning, when you presented it, you had absolutely no problem at all answering the faculty questions. So that is how they used to prepare. Before every journal club used to have it. Before every seminar symposia that we as junior residents used to present, we used to have it. So like at the end of 3 years, I must have made some 100 presentations. Every junior resident would have made some 100 presentations. So that's how we were grounded.
I think Saurabh is also from RP Center.
Right. Yeah.
Saurabh, do you have any experience and message for the PGs?
Wish the same system should be in all institutions.
Yeah.
It was started by LP Agarwal, and thanks to him, Indian ophthalmology is what it is today because of him, I suppose. Apart from Dr. Badrinath, Nam, everybody else.
I think one important point sir was mentioning was about taking notes. So, like when I joined my fellowship in LVP with sir, when you are operating or assisting surgeries in LVP with plenty of variety and the frequency of the surgeries, and you are watching Dr. Honavar operating every OR, you feel everything is so obvious and so simple. But when you actually leave that place, that time you realize that your notes are really handy. Because sometimes when you feel the things which are very obvious because you are seeing them every day, you're observing and assisting good surgeons every day. So small things, if you really note down at that point of time, even if you feel they're very obvious, it surely helps. May not be in initial 1 or 2 years when you are really fresh from your residency or fellowship, but surely after few maybe years when you are not doing those surgeries that frequently. So that was one very good habit which was like developed during LVP days, which was actually because of sir's like habit of telling the fellows again and again to write the thing, whatever is discussed and seen during the OR day.
That is logbook, I think.
Yeah, I think Sunny has a question for Dr. Honavar, sir. Sunny, please go ahead.
Yeah, Vardhaman, you could read it because my voice is really bad.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I think So the question to you, Dr. SH, is the research that you had published on retinoblastoma about 2 decades, 20 years back, is still pivotal. So were these your own ideas, or they were given to you by Dr. Shields or somebody else, and were these simply, or they were simply clinical curiosity? Is the question.
This is
So
the idea that I took to Wills from India, because we were seeing a lot of risk factors on histopathology, and we were able to identify that, but we were not very sure as to how to treat these children with histopathological risk factors. They had a series of cases where patients were treated with chemotherapy following identification of histopathological risk factors, and there were patients who were not treated. So it was a very simple way of conducting a study retrospective as to how these children did with or without adjuvant therapy. That's all. So it was a very quick study that this got over a weekend. That's all I had to spend on it. And Arun Singh was the one who mentored it. So that actually led to a multicentric study called Children's Oncology Group Study, which established the fact that adjuvant chemotherapy is necessary. So it's just a kind of your, background. We had a lot of children who underwent enucleation versus, what could be accomplished in a place like Wills where there is a lot of data.
So I think the application of your previous experience in the right setting has helped you, also with the right mentor. And yes, absolutely. Yes, great. So I think if you look at the current generation of residents, Dr. SH, what do you think are the 5 qualities that they have that probably are better than us? And probably the 5 qualities that you feel that probably what our generation or your generation had, and probably they're losing on?
I think they're very confident.
Yeah.
We were not so confident. They're very much digitally savvy. They're technologically very savvy, which we were not, which we took time to adapt. Third is that I think their communication skills are much better. Then we were very scared of our mentors and teachers, but they are very open. They can, say hi on WhatsApp and start a conversation, which we are not able to do at that time. We would leave very hesitant written notes on the desk of our mentors and hoping that they would answer it. I think fourth is that their proficiency in language. They're very good at language. They can write well. Fifth is that they're determined, more determined than what we are. Right? Skills that they lack, I am not sure whether they lack those skills, but I think they are more diffuse than us. They should be more focused. Probably it's because the subject itself has widened so much. Ophthalmology was not so huge when I was a resident. Now it has become so huge that focus is important. I feel that diffuseness is a disease. It's good to be comprehensive ophthalmologist, but even there you need to have a focus. It's not that you can be a comprehensive ophthalmologist without a focus. So if they build focus into what they positive qualities that they already have, that is great. Second is that their dependence on digital resources has to be optimized along with textbook. Textbook, finally, how you read it is not important. You can read your textbook on your computer screen or a physical paper textbook, but your dependent on textbook has to increase. Right now, they are more dependent on what they find on Google, and that is random search. Even if they do digital learning, that has to be curated material, not random information, because random information on SlideShare, etc., can be very dangerous because that is not curated at all. Nobody has vouched for the authenticity of that information. Third is that, well, it's good to have many mentors, but you have to have one prime mentor who will hold your hand and be your mentor all through life. Like you have Palicaris. Even now, if you have a trouble, you'll approach him, right?
Yes, of course, yes.
Same with me. I have my mentors who I would approach whenever I have trouble. So similarly, you should have one particular mentor, and you can have many other mentors to build upon that. So that possibly is lacking. They don't believe in the kind of being a mentee to a mentor. Many of the youngsters are so confident with themselves that they don't need a mentor. That's what they feel. See, these 4 or 5 qualities, if they adapt, then I think they should be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I want to add, that our new generation, most of the time, the basic clinical examination they are lacking. They directly switch on to the imaging system and all those things. That I think basic clinical examination is also needed.
Absolutely right. So if they've done a good gonioscopy already and a good disc evaluation and nerve fiber layer evaluation, they may not even need imaging systems. Imaging systems sometimes only support what you have already seen clinically, and they should understand that that's not a crutch to your lack of clinical evaluation skills.
Yes, absolutely. And I think
Sumit wants to ask one question, if I can ask on his behalf.
Sumit, are you online? Yeah, Sumit also wanted to ask one question to Sir.
So Sumit wants to ask Sir that when and how did you start developing interest in teaching, and is there any particular incidents during your residency which you still remember about it?
A lot of instances. But then teaching, I think, as KP mentioned, as junior and senior junior resident and senior resident, we are supposed to teach. And the way my own juniors flowered during, the residency, that they how they developed, actually stimulated me. Oh my God, I used to teach him, and now look at how good he has become, or she has become. That is how it fuels further teaching. The way how successful your own students are, makes you very happy, and that actually fuels for the teaching and training.
So
One question.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir. Please. Yes.
No, just I want to ask Saurabh. We just skip that. How was his experience in his residency, and what message he can give to the our PGs?
No, I think as KP sir and Santosh sir said, I think I had the same experience. I think we should have that senior residency system in all colleges. And because as a senior resident, I also, as a junior resident, I learned a lot from senior residents. And when I was a senior resident, I think that's when I started liking teaching. Because, you are teaching your immediate juniors who are like very good friends. So it's more of an informal teaching which you really like, and you want to continue that even in your private practice and your job. So I remember that one thing which I learned from many of my professors and mentors from RPC, like they used to push us to do a lot of presentation, as Hunar sir said. And I remember particular incidents where my very good teacher Dr. Tanuj Dada sir was there, and he asked me to present. I was a second year resident, and he said that tomorrow there is a DOS meeting, and my talk is there on this topic. So tomorrow you go and present that talk. So I think that is something out of the world, because as a second year resident, we don't. I was not expecting that I can speak in a conference, but he had the confidence that I can do a good job, and I did it. So I think that is one thing I learned. So once you become a teacher or a mentor, I think you have to push your students also to the next level. So when I conducted my first live phaco training workshop, I asked my fellows to do live surgery, and that gave my fellow huge confidence in his own skills. So I think that is something I learned from RPC, that you can push others to a next level.
And also
I
grab
think-
the opportunity. I think.
Yeah. I'll quote the same incident Dr. Santosh Honawar also. Dr. N.N. Sood was his mentor, I think, thesis guide. They did a phenomenal work on the electron microscopy of trabecular meshwork. That was a monumental study. And that was presented in AOS that went to the finals of Colonel Rangachari. Dr. Santosh was a third year resident. Dr. Sood, the professor, the head of glaucoma, was his guide. And he presented it and won Colonel Rangachari as a postgraduate student. I think that is how the mentors are in RP Center. And that is how the tradition continues. And
No, there is a small interesting story about it if it's not too late. I was very, very nervous, very scared. I never presented in AIS before. I had never attended AIS from the perspective of presentation ever. So that was the first AIS where I had submitted an abstract. I was very nervous, and all these Keki Mehtas and Dr. Nagpals and Jaivir Agarwals were the judges, all the past presidents and scientific committee chairman at that time. Dr. Sood knew me very well. He was sitting in the front row on the left side, second seat. Because I have a head turn. When I present, I don't look straight. I turn to one side, and you know exactly which angle I would turn and speak. And in that angle was he sitting there, and I presented only to him. I never knew who else was there in the room. I never saw anybody. I just was seeing him, and I was presenting to him, and that's all I did. So the mentors are so good. I never told him that, sir, you be there. I have a presentation. He knew exactly what time was the presentation, and he was present in the same seat where I would turn to. So that is how good they are.
Yeah.
Mentors.
And this is an inspiration for all the residents, that even as a resident, if you have the right study, you can go on to also win Rangachari Award, like Dr. Nawar sir. So I think this has been done before. This can be
more than anything else.
No, I think
but
I'll end this with that thing. Always I feel, see, we cannot repay our teachers. The only way is to pay it forward, to put it to the next generation. I think that's what Dr. Santosh Khana was doing. So what Dr. Sood taught, or all his teachers taught, probably he's paying it forward. That's a great contribution and a great gesture.
Yes, absolutely. Great. So if any other questions are there for so Dr. Unawar sir, probably I'll ask you the last question, which is probably something which is a life skill, I think not only for residency, but in life. I think because I have always seen that your ability to multitask so many things with such a finesse. I told you that also before. And the only another person that who comes to my mind is Elon Musk, because he is like taking care of 5-7 companies, and I don't know how he manages his time every day to take big decisions for such huge companies. And when you are doing so many big things in life, so how do you actually multitask? Like, because like when I was actually going through biography of Elon Musk, and what he does is that he has those very concentrated, super focused spells for short time for everything, where he forgets everything else, and then he does the next thing. It's like episodes, right? So how do you manage it? We would like to learn from you.
No, I haven't read his biography, but I do probably nearly the same. When I do something, I'm totally mindful about it. Now I'm on this webinar, I'm not doing anything else. My mobile is far away. I'm not bothered about what time is dinner. So I'm just there. So I think I have, I also practice that spells where I finish one task and move to the other, not do multiple things at the same time. Do multiple things on the same day, perhaps, but focusing on each thing when I do it, not get distracted at all.
So being mindful and learning to be mindful at that point. Yes, that's a skill. I mean, it is a learning skill. I mean,
I also believe that work expands to fill all the available time. So if you have very short time to finish a particular task, then you'll still do it as well as you would have probably done it if you had 10 times the amount of time.
Yeah, true. I think we have all experienced. Sometimes we do that 11th hour things and still it turns out to be.
That is actually good. Actually, if you prepare your presentation today for the presentation that's there tomorrow, then you'd still do a good job. If you were to start 10 days ahead, then you would have lost those 9 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. I think great parting words from sir. And if there are any questions, otherwise we'll go to the vote of thanks by our Honorary Secretary, Dr. Atulji.
Yeah. Thank you, Vardhaman. Actually, it's such a wonderful session. All those PGs who are listening the today's session, see, you can learn academics from so many conferences, but you will never have such session like this. And I feel really jealous that the amount of besides the amount of the study material and everything available for you guys nowadays, and the webinars like this, I know, and the inspiring speech from such a stalwarts in the field of ophthalmology. I really thankful to all our mentors, Dr. Santosh sir, Dr. KP sir, Dr. Naina madam, Dr. Saurabh, Dr. Rajesh, and it's Dr. Sabyasachi. You are giving your precious, valuable time and your learnings to our new generations. Thank you all speakers. You really presented very nicely. Thank you to our host, to our president. Thank you to Entod and all you PGs. Be there on each Thursday or a Tuesday. We'll have a webinar like this for you and really make a good use of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everyone,
Wish you all the best.
For your valuable time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Professor sir. Thank you, Dr. KP.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav Sabyasachi. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Naina, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night. Good night to everybody.
Good night, everyone.
ये पहले से चलता है क्या कि रिटर्न कुछ यू किया मना पहला था ऐसा ओ म्यूट करो